leave moments that were real and caught of the moment. You never had a moment where you looked into the camera and narrated the story. I'd like to know about that decision to do that.
Yeah, that was quite deliberate. I really wanted the documentary to play out more like a narrative so that you just felt like you were a fly on the wall with our family for those 9 months and you could just come to your own conclusions. So deliberately I left a lot of space, and even the voiceover that you heard off camera, that was all recorded from interviews, so there was no actual scripted narration. I interviewed my family, they interviewed me at different times during the bush, and then after the experience, I had some trusted friends who didn't know much about the experience interview the kids, interview me, and I pulled bits from that to make the voiceover. So that was quite fun.
Your children have incredible wisdom. I'm very intimidated about this.
And so I was trying to find a replacement for Gerard so that we could go and do this adventure, and it was just not lining up. And eventually we came to the point where we said, okay, the kids, we're going to lose this magic moment with our kids. We're just going to go. So we actually left and told our community that we were leaving, and we had no doctor to replace their doctor, and passed it over to the hands of government and said, sorry, we tried, we couldn't find one, good luck, we're going anyway because this is important. So the actual planning for the bush, I would say, was probably 3 solid months of trying to figure things out. I mean, there's so many unknowns, right? How much milk powder, how much flour, how much toilet paper, how much toothpaste, and then you're thinking about birthdays and Christmas and Halloween and 3 seasons and all that sort of stuff. And I think we just kind of lucked out, really. And what we didn't have, we didn't have.
The Halloween segment was amazing.
Yeah. I think, you know, a couple of things. It just feels like a lot of freedom there. And some people ask me, well, weren't you worried more for your kids' safety in the bush? And actually, I think it's the opposite. I think there's more risks in city life than there is in the bush. It feels quite comfortable in the bush. I mean, obviously, you have to take some precautions as well. But yeah, I don't think we ever, well, I mean, as you saw, I mean, our 8-year-old daughter was chopping wood. And well, I mean, I guess when you've got a husband like Gerard, it's a whole new division. We came out of the bush with 500 hours of footage, and it actually took 3 years for me to edit that into this documentary. And when we came out of the bush, we expected to be transitioning back to life in Dawson City, and we thought we could handle that. Because of some unforeseen events, we ended up coming out of the bush, unpacking, repacking, and in a few weeks moving to Victoria in British Columbia, a city of 300,000 people where we spent 3 school years. And that was a total overwhelming, would you say, experience. This past June, we were able to return to our home in Dawson full-time, and that has felt great, although I think Kate and I, anyway, felt like we needed to go back to the bush after living in the city just to get grounded again. But we are now, I think now, recovering from our city experience post-bush and gradually getting everything back in order.
I'm not going into the bush, but I am going to spend more time with my daughter.
You were there. What did you miss from modern life?
While you're in the bush. Fruit. You know, if I got to do it again, I think Gerard would never leave, and I would never leave, and that would be the best way.
Yes. We have time for just one more question. I believe it was you, sir.
Just wondering if you had any difficulty with biting insects.
Well, that's the reason why we go to the bush in the winter instead of the summer. People say, why do you go in the winter? And yeah, so in the fall there were a few black flies, but it was getting close to freeze up, so not so bad. And then in the spring, the mosquitoes were starting to come back, and that was our signal that it was time to go home. Because in the bush, in the summer, the bugs are quite vicious.
Okay. Well, I just want to say you made a remarkable film, and above and beyond that, you have an absolutely remarkable family.